9-year-old girls are really trying to be too big for their britches. Okay. They really are at this point. And I think parents, we can either laugh at it and like, oh, I'm going to take my 9-year-old to Sephora, which I don't think there's anything wrong with taking your 9-year-old to Sephora. I don't think there's anything wrong with your 9-year-old having a Stanley Cup. But
a Stanley Cup is hockey. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the hockey cup. The 9-year-olds are winning it for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
Welcome to another episode of Is This for Kids? I am Jonathan Bearded Blevins.
I am Katie, Mrs. Ruby.
And boy, oh boy, do we have an episode for you.
So episode much wow. Sorry.
We're gonna talk about all the boys I've loved before.
And you've loved so many boys before, John.
Well, I've had many a friend.
That's
who's
right.
a boy growing up.
And we really do need to
now I've
affirm
got 2
male
sons.
friendship.
Yes.
Exactly. Very much.
There's not a lot of male friendship in this movie, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I have to ask you though, because my wife was very happy that we had a chick flick. Are they still called that?
I don't think you're allowed to say chick anymore.
Can't say chick anymore.
I don't know.
Why? Is it because of the origination of the word chick?
I don't even know what that is.
It's inappropriate.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, if you have what my professor taught me in college was think about how baby chicks eat, and that is why that name became a thing.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. You might cut this from the podcast.
The etymology of that word is anywho.
So you can't say chick flick, but you can say rom-com, but it's not a I guess.
It was kind of cute.
But like, what would you classify Nicholas Sparks movies?
Oh, I would call those romantic. Oh, just romances. Just romance.
Just romance.
Yeah. And I think
Sounds
that,
weird to say.
the main character, Laura Jean, has a big interest in romance novels. So I think that this movie would be a teen romance.
But when you say that this movie is a teen romance, it's weird that I watched it.
You do a podcast to determine whether or not.
I understand.
Okay.
But I think other adults, married couples went to go see this movie. And it's weird if they went to go see a teen romance movie.
Well, I have great news for you. It was released on Netflix and was never in a theater.
Well, that's better news, I suppose.
That is much better news.
So, but real quick, what was your favorite romance movie growing up?
Growing up.
And why was it a walk to remember?
That came out when I was in high school.
Mandy Moore.
Yeah.
My first love.
Sure. That makes sense, actually. That tracks with everything I know about you.
Yes. Oh my gosh, her character was perfect, and
yeah.
she was singing. She was Christian. She was innocent.
She was dead by the end of the movie.
Dying of cancer.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was, but it was great because he loved her
for the tiny amount of time he was required to do so.
And then,
sure. I don't love that one. My favorite.
You hold on.
Okay.
Just close your eyes. Just picture the scene.
Okay.
Just the scene where what's his name? Shane's his name in the movie, right? He's got daddy issues though, right? Throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
So you gotta close your eyes now. This pouring rain. His dad's a doctor. His girlfriend, who he's madly in love with, is dying, and his dad can't help, and he's just driving as fast as he can to his dad's house while I Dare You to Move by Switchfoot is playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't get better.
But didn't it turn out his dad was like a podiatrist?
Yeah, I think so.
He's like, I'm not even that kind of doctor.
Yeah, but he didn't understand because his heart was broken.
Right.
You understand?
Sure.
That was me. Shane West in that movie was me. I think Logan might have been his name.
So incredibly emotional, not particularly bright.
Yeah, that was me in high school, 100%.
Beautiful.
Okay, so sorry.
So my favorite romance movie was way older than that. It was a movie called Murphy's Romance that no one will remember except me, starring James Gardner and Sally Field. She's a single mom who goes and buys a ranch in Modesto, California, and this very old man who runs the pharmacy loves her, and it's very cute.
Boring.
No, it's fine.
Sounds horrible.
It was.
But to all the boys I've loved before, not horrible.
It's not. It's
not
so
horrible.
sweet.
Why don't you or should I? How about I summarize one?
You can summarize it. I believe in you,
to
John.
prove to the ITFK audience that I watched a romance. It's so much easier to say chick flick.
Sure, go
but
for it.
We won't say that. It's offensive.
You can say it.
So it follows a main character, Laura Jean, who's a junior in high school. Do you like this detail? Mm-hmm. Her sister moves to Scotland. They're best friends for college, and she's left with her dad and younger sister because her mom passes away. We don't learn a lot about that other than that it was when she was young. Mm-hmm. Laura Jean, over the course of her life, writes 5 different love letters Emphasis on different parts of her life, not at once to 5 different guys. Just for herself. She likes romance novels. She writes all these letters, never with any intention to send them, although she does weirdly put addresses on them.
Addresses on all of them.
Which is kind of the weird part. Puts it in a little box. Her sister finds the box in an effort to get her sister to be more involved and have a social life. She sends them out. 2 of the letters go to people like 3 go to people in her high school. 2 of them to people that are kind of like, ooh. And then she ends up starting a fake relationship with one of them for reasons that you will find out when you watch the movie. They, of course, begin to fall in love during this fake romance.
I'm not sure you have to like leave that out. That's not a spoiler. It's literally the plot of the movie.
Oh, well.
It happens within the first 20 minutes.
Oh.
One of the letters was written to her sister's
ex-boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend that she breaks up with. And because she doesn't want to have to face the fact that she's trying to skeeve off her sister's boyfriend, she pretends to be in a relationship with this other guy.
She can't let me explain the movie. She has
But you did a bad job of it.
I did an above average job.
Oh my gosh, you left out the main plot
Above
points.
average. He's barely in the movie.
Okay.
Josh, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell I just watched this movie 2 days ago?
Oh my goodness.
Incredible. And so, of course, drama ensues because they start to fall for each other. There's exes involved.
Yep.
And it's a high school movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I thought it was a fantastic movie. I watched it with all of my daughters. Well, not really the baby. The 3-year-old has no interest in this movie.
All the daughters I've watched movies with before.
Indeed. And my little son watched it too. My older son had no interest whatsoever. My little son thought it was fun though. And it was a sweet movie. There is swearing. A little bit, not a lot. Probably what you would expect from like a made-for-TV movie, something on prime time. There's maybe some A words, etc. But like the main male character is not a horn dog. He's a really respectful young man. She makes the rule that there will be no kissing, and he respects that. And it's a really very sweet relationship between the 2 of them. Everybody is dressed appropriately for a high school aged person, and even the teenage drinking is very responsibly approached. Like they're at a party and he brings her a drink and she tastes it and she's like, why is it so vinegary? And he's like, oh, it's kombucha. I'm not drinking, I'm driving.
Yep.
So like he makes a point of saying that, and I thought it was really well handled and appropriate. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, I will admit I didn't hate the movie.
You loved it. Did you get that little squealy feeling in your tummy?
No,
I'm not.
No, I'm an old man. I'm a curmudgeon. No,
oh my
I would have
goodness.
honestly. I will say this: I wasn't watching like normally when I watch some of this content. I have like an NBA game or a college basketball game up or a football game in the football season, and I didn't. This time I watched the entire thing. I took some notes for the podcast. I thoroughly thought it was okay.
Thoroughly okay.
I'm not gonna say I thoroughly enjoyed it,
delightfully
but I did.
fine.
I think the acting was good. I think the characters are good. The story about like the mom not being a part of the picture was sad, and like there's like it connects you right away because you immediately start to like that entire family and wish the best for them. So the hot tub scene was a little weird.
Is a little weird. She's fully clothed and they're kissing in a hot tub.
Yep.
That's probably the most body part of the movie.
Yeah, but it was just weird because it's I don't know, like, and it just didn't. It felt weird compared to the rest of the movie, since the rest of the movie like had none of that stuff in there. But it was a huge plot point.
It was a huge plot point.
Somebody like took pictures, recorded. I thought that part of the movie was actually really well addressed.
Well addressed.
Yeah, like there's people like when things happen and people share things online, it can get really out of hand. Horrible things get shared, and then also sometimes things that aren't what they seem get shared and can ruin a person's reputation. I thought they handled that really, really well.
Yeah.
My only complaint was the dad. And only when he so she goes on a ski trip and the dad just hands her a bunch of condoms. Oh, yeah. And it's just like, be careful, like be safe. No conversation, no like, hey, make sure that you really love. No advice at all. Just like, here you go. Partially understand because there's no mom in the picture and maybe it's just trying to show that. But also like you can actually talk to your daughter about that kind of stuff instead of just throwing condoms at her.
Yeah, that was made especially weird by the fact that her dad is a gynecologist.
Yeah.
Like, he was perfectly capable of having that conversation. He has all the words that he needs. It's not like he's, wanting for information or whatever. I did think that was a little bit weird. And they do make like a very, it's not really political, but it's, I don't know what you want to call it, a point where he says most teen pregnancies are a result of expecting abstinence, which is unreasonable. And I know that that's like a common thing that people say, but I think that there's something to be said about, teen pregnancy probably results from people not being honest with their children, not speaking to them about it. They're not being an open avenue of communication much more than it is. I mean, maybe if your only approach to it is, hey, don't have sex, and that's the whole conversation, sure. But I'm not sure that encouraging sex through condoms is really the right answer either. So I did think that was weird. I actually disliked the dad for a completely different reason. And it's that I'm pretty sure that actor was only on set for about 45 minutes to film a couple of scenes in which he appears with his daughters on one frame. But for the most part, I think he filmed all of his scenes separately, and it drove me nuts the entire way through the movie. If you go back and rewatch it, guys, notice how many times Aiden from Sex and the City, whose name I can't think of right now. What's that actor's name?
I have no idea.
He's Aiden from Sex and the City. He's always having conversations where he's the only person in the frame, and then they show like the kitchen that he's standing in, and he's talking to the daughter who should be visible in this frame, but she's not. And it's very strange. Or like he's standing on the stairs and talking to her while she's got her back to him from like a completely awkward angle, and I'm like, this is only being done because he's not on set at the same time. I guarantee you. I don't have any evidence to support that. It's just a personal thing. So if you go back and rewatch it, and tell me in the comments if you think he was on set at the same time.
That's actually pretty funny. Wasn't there a scene in this movie where someone makes fun of him for being a gynecologist?
Yes.
Isn't that where
she's like, what did you go to college to say? I want to look at vaginas all day.
Yeah, at one point you decided that this is what you wanted to do in college. Kind of weird, right?
She's like, I'm leaving the kitchen now, Christine.
Yeah,
that was a good line.
That was actually a pretty funny.
It was really funny. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he was only on set with them very small amount of time.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's a real niche complaint.
Other than that, which I don't think is like a massive deal, because Laura Jean's a really responsible character throughout the entire movie.
All of them, like, so good.
Yeah, the guy too, Peter. I watched this movie kind of thinking like, man, if my kids can be like that, because I grew up and in high school like had friends like that who were just mature and were like, I don't need to do what everyone else in high school is doing, and my little brain was like, no, you have to like be cool and do it. So I hope that I could have kids like that. So I think that really does a good job of balancing out my one complaint. Like you said, there's barely any drinking. There's no drugs. The language isn't that bad. I'd say 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah.
Watch it with, if I was a mom, watching it with my 12 or 13-year-old daughter and having good conversations about love and openness and being honest with your family about who you like and that kind of stuff and your friends, I think would be really fun.
Yeah, I would actually put this a little bit younger. I would say it's appropriate for older elementary age kids to high school, so like 10.
Come on, I finally went low and you're going lower?
Because I think that it's the kind of thing that a 10-year-old likes to watch. Like, you've heard of the Sephora 9-year-olds, right?
No.
Oh, come on. There's these girls running around Sephora that are 9 years old.
Sephora is a what? A makeup company?
Yeah, makeup company.
Like Ulta.
Like Ulta, but a little bit fancier. Maybe not. They partner with Kohl's. I really don't know. Anyway, yada yada. They're in there buying retinol cream, which is for wrinkles. Like, it's very odd. These little 9-year-olds in there spending hundreds of dollars on a Lululemon crossbody bag and a Stanley cup and a retinol facial treatment, and you're like, what is happening right now? And 9-year-old girls are really trying to be too big for their britches. Okay. They really are at this point. And I think parents, we can either laugh at it and like, oh, I'm going to take my 9-year-old to Sephora, which I don't think there's anything wrong with taking your 9-year-old to Sephora. I don't think there's anything wrong with your 9-year-old having a Stanley Cup. But
a Stanley Cup is hockey. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the hockey cup. The 9-year-olds are winning it for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really impressive. But I don't think there's anything wrong with giving your 9-year-old a Stanley Cup or giving your 9-year-old access to a cute high school rom-com type movie, as long as the characters are good eggs. Like, and everybody in this movie is a good egg. Like, you're not getting a bad example of humanity by watching this. It's cute. It's fun. I think you're good with 10-year-old.
Great. You go ahead. I'm sticking with 12 to 13. Go get some ice cream. Have a good combo after. And then what you girls do?
Yeah.
You get ice cream. You talk about stuff.
We sure do.
What a blessing.
What a blessing. Hey, did you know that there's a way for people to get some additional content if they like what they're seeing here?
What do you think? They go to patreon.com/isthisforkids?
Patreon.com/isthisforkids. You know, / isn't necessary, right?
I hear everyone say it. So no, there's a backslash and a /
The backslash is irrelevant at this period in history.
Irrelevant.
That's more than true.
Did you know that like it was like a year ago that I learned that you're not supposed to double space anymore?
Oh, I know.
I had no idea.
I found out that that's how they tell how old we are, is that if you double space after a sentence, they're like, oh, that's how you know you're an elder millennial.
Oh my gosh. I still think I do it.
I still do.
I'm trying not
all
to.
the time when I'm trying to find characters to take out of a tweet, it's always the extra space.
Yep. That's us.
Hi.
Speaking of Twitter,
No.
Speaking of Discord.
Speaking of Patreon, go to join our Patreon. You can come hang out with us in Discord. You can suggest content that you would like us to review. We can do some live streams. You can send us stuff to put on our shelves. There's some parental guides for conversations, like you said. Have a nice conversation afterwards.
Get your name thrown up on our social media. I wrote you one right here. Do you want a sample of the conversation? Yes, please.
Hey,
wait. Ask me a question. I'll answer it.
Okay. Hey, Laura Jean seems to be pretty heavily avoiding Josh rather than just having a conversation with him. Why do you suppose it's easier to pretend that she doesn't care about him than to just talk to him?
That's great.
Yeah.
My answer, if it was me, texting's much easier.
Ah,
just shoot me a text, buddy.
Beautiful. Well, anyway.
That's the unrealistic part of the movie. He just knocks on her door. No.
Boys don't do that.
Yeah,
They just simply do not have the guts. Well, there is a ton of media out there for us to navigate as parents.
I'm Jonathan Beard of Blevins.
I'm Katie, Mrs. Ruby. Let us help you decide.
Is this for kids?